What's up, YouTube? It's another day with the one and only Billy J. And this is my review of episode 18 of American Idol Season 15, the farewell season. And the show starts off with duets. The first duet was LaPortia and Trent Harmon, and they sang When I See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth. What a perfect duet performance by both parties. Their voices harmonized beautifully. Neither of them was overpowered or outshone each other. And right here, I think these two are going to be the final two. The next duet was AVALON Young and SONIKA Vade, and they sang Rise Up by Andra Day. First off, this is Melanie Thierry's song. I personally didn't cry during this performance, and neither did Keith Urban. So with what they did with the song, they lost that feeling when they performed this song. Their voices sounded okay together. It wasn't the best mashup for these two performers. I personally think they should have did a different song or arranged the song differently to get that feeling, because it's a very powerful song. And in my opinion, I think SONIKA and Tristan would have been the better pair for a duet. And they could have done Rise Up with Tristan on the piano and SONIKA standing there singing, and it would have been perfect. Next up was Dalton Rapatoni and MacKenzie Borg, and they sang I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. Well, this was quite the disappointment. It was a terrible song for both artists to sing because it doesn't have much range or any substance to the song. It was too cover band type of song, and it hurt both of them. And Lijon, this was definitely not a standing ovation type performance, so sit down. And like J-Lo, I did not want it that way. And speaking of not wanting it that way, next up was Lijon and Tristan McIntosh, and they sang Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. Wrong song. That should be the theme for the duets, because the only people that had the right song were the first ones up, LaPortia and Trent. Everyone else had the wrong song. And this song was definitely way too big for Lijon. He struggled, and it definitely showed in his performance. And I agree with Harry that the performance would have been more impactful and better for both of them had they changed the arrangement and made it more acoustic with Lijon on the guitar or even Tristan on the piano. And had they done it that way, it would have been a way better performance on both their parts. Because this rock ballad did not work for either of them. Well, after the duets is off to the solos. And the first to perform was LaPortia, and she sang Come Together by the Beatles. What a great song for her to sing. And with this performance, we get LaPortia moving around on stage, all around the stage, and not just standing in one spot in front of the mic. She is just incredible, and LaPortia can definitely sing the phone book, and I would be captivated. Next up was MacKenzie Borg, and he sang You Are So Beautiful by Joe Cocker. This was a much better performance and better song choice for MacKenzie. MacKenzie did a wonderful job with this song. And surprisingly, he didn't play the guitar during this performance. He just stood there, and he had like 4 violinists behind him. He did a great job singing his heart out and crooning the crowd with his wonderful rendition of this classic song. Next up was Trent Harmon, and he sang Stand By Me by Benny King. I cannot get over how great of a talent Trent Harmon is. I loved his performance and his song choice. And he actually improves on perfection with each and every performance. He's done a lot of work working on his facial expression when he sings, and his voice just keeps getting better. And I disagree with J-Lo. I personally like the nighttime trend. And I don't know about you, but J-Lo sounded mighty thirsty. Me too. Next up was Tristan McIntosh, and she sang On a Broken Wing by Martina McBride. To me, Tristan sounded beautiful doing this song. It wasn't as perfect as last week's performance, but it was definitely her second best since the live performances. And one suggestion for Tristan is that next week, perhaps she should go back behind the piano. I think she sounds more controlled and beautiful when she's playing and singing. Oh, and Tristan, the girl commits suicide in the song. That's what Harry is trying to convey, is that you need to convey more emotion when you're singing the song, because it's actually a sad song. She's abused and she sees that suicide is the only way out of that relationship, and then she goes off to heaven. So next time, sing with a little bit more emotion when you're singing a sad song like that. And the last one up before the bottom three was Dalton Rapatoni. And he sang Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. Damn, 3 of the contestants sang Beatles songs. And I'm glad Dalton had a better performance in the solo round than with the duets, because otherwise he'd definitely be in danger next week. He rearranged the song into an emo rock version, and I kind of liked it. And Dalton definitely does the most theatrical performances out of all the contestants. Like I said, he definitely reminds me of an Adam Lambert light type performer. And my main critique for Dalton is that when he performs, he also needs to perform for the TV audience. To me, he's like a performer like Avalon. If you're there in the physical audience, then that's like the greatest show on earth. But for us in the TV audience, we don't get that magic, we don't get that eye contact, we get nothing. We just see them up there performing for the crowd and doing their thing. So my main criticism is for Dalton to sing to the TV audience. Perhaps next week, do a slower version of a song or something and sing to the TV audience. And then we were down to our bottom 3, which consisted of Sonika Vade, Avalon Young, and Lijon. And the first of the bottom 3 to perform was Avalon Young, as she sang PYT, Pretty Young Thing, by Michael Jackson. I'll have to give it to Avalon that she seems to have the most fun up there on that stage. Every song that is in her wheelhouse, she does a phenomenal job, and this song is definitely in her wheelhouse. And I feel that the main reason why Avalon keeps ending up in the bottom 3 is because the same criticism I have for Dalton is in the fact that she performs for the physical audience there and not the TV audience. So she loses that connection between the crowd and the TV audience. So I think that's what hurts her. Otherwise, I think she does a great job. The next to perform was Lijon, and he sang Let It Be by the Beatles. I thought this performance from Lijon was very shaky, and that definitely hurt his performance. And in my opinion, this song is very simplistic, almost too simplistic to be singing in a singing competition show. His voice seemed very strained in a lot of parts, and in my honest opinion, it was definitely time for Lijon to go. This performance and his performance in the duets were both very bad, and it was definitely his time to go. And the final performance was Sonika Vade, as she sang I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston. Sonika has a great voice. And if there is a dark horse in this competition, in my opinion, it is Sonika. And I can't understand why she is in the bottom 3. Granted, I predicted it last week, but still. and I'm glad that we got the great performing Sonika this week. I sure hope that she doesn't go to the bottom 2 next week, because in my opinion, it would be definitely undeserving, especially after that performance. Well, the judges picked out of the bottom 3, and the person that they chose to save was Sonika. It was extremely tough for me to pick my bottom 2 for next week. Thankfully, they're no longer hacking and slashing 2 people to go every week from now on. From now on, it's back to the normal 1 person, so there's only going to be a bottom 2. However, somebody has to go home. My bottom 2 are going to be Mackenzie Borg and Tristan McIntosh. Now for Mackenzie, like I said, he did a wonderful job. He sang the song beautifully, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for me. And as for Tristan, her performance was slightly pitchy and shaky in her lower range, and she didn't quite sing with enough emotion for that sad song. And my wild card for the bottom 2 is Sonika Vade. Even though I love Sonika and believe that she's a dark horse, for some reason, once somebody ends up in the bottom 2 or 3 and they get saved, they tend to wind up in the bottom 2 or 3 again the following week, a la Avalon Young, and last year Rayvon kept ending up in the bottom 2 as well. So unfortunately, once you get stuck there at the bottom, you're stuck there until it's your time to go. And in my opinion, I don't think that Sonika deserves to be in the bottom 2. But that's just my opinion. It's a toss-up as far as who's going to go home, in my opinion, between Mackenzie and Tristan. I could see Tristan going home, but I can also see Mackenzie going home. And unfortunately, I can also see Sonika going home as well. It all depends on how the cookie crumbles. Well, that's just my opinion. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on their performances, who is your weakest, and who you think is going home. And remember, peace, love, unity, respect. Peace out, guys.